Is that a fish? Oh, that's a good one. Go, Sam. Oh, get in here. Pretty good river fish. Bounced it off a rock. There he was. Got it in the schnoz. Fishing on a day when it's about 80 degrees at the end of December somehow. First fish, took me about 30 minutes to get some rock bank covered, but there's one. Using just a pretty shallow to medium shallow cheap crankbait that I had laying in my tackle box. I always get a lot of bait snagged up in the river, so I don't like to use a lot of my more expensive crankbaits, but nonetheless they do the trick. There you go. Fish. Oh, pretty good one. Oh shit. Drag slip. Let's see if we can. That rock right there always seems to have a fish hiding right beside it. Sure enough, ran it right on it, and boom, there was this guy. He's borderline big enough to where I should probably just be picking him up by the line, but fighting the wind in the boat. Still out here having a good time though. This one's just a little bigger than the first one. Probably about a, I don't know, 15, 16 inch fish. Not bad. Nice little keeper. There we go. Let him go. Pretty much anytime you're throwing a crankbait, what I had to learn the hard way, not really the hard way, it just took time for me to realize that making contact with the bottom is actually what you want. And I always thought, be like, well, if you do that, you're gonna get snagged up a lot, but that's really what the bill on the crankbait is for, is just to deflect it off of any of the cover that's down there. And once it bounces off those rocks, that's typically rocks, sticks, whatever's down there, typically that's what'll make a fish that's nearby try and kill it. Really the only time you get hung up typically is if the bill gets really wedged in between some rocks, and that comes out pretty easy. Or you're fishing someplace that gets a lot of pressure, which is pretty much this area. You're gonna find fishing line quite a bit, and a lot of the times you'll end up SOL, but sometimes you can wiggle it loose. But yeah, grind that bottom, bounce off of stuff. Doesn't matter if you're throwing a real deep one or a square bill. It's the name of the game. Definitely not the expert on cranking. I just like doing it because I'm too damn impatient to drag the bottom all the time. And we've got pretty good conditions for it today. Yeah, right in the bend here, this thing makes a big old horseshoe, and whenever it gets real windy in the transition months down here, you got to find some way to get out of the wind, and this is a pretty good spot to do it. And you know, anytime a river makes a real hard cut or a turn, That's typically where a lot of stuff is going to pile up, and there's a lot of bait there. There's a lot of places for them to hide. And typically you'll catch more fish in these areas too, and that's something that I've definitely had luck with in here. Really wish I'd have had this thing a few days ago, because I was down here and I'm actually coming up on that spot soon. I no joke caught, and I caught a 20, every bit of 22, probably would have been closer to a 23-inch fish. Just a massive river fish for here. This is that spot I was talking about. There's a little cut right here. And this little area right here is actually pretty deep. I tried to beach on a rock here and it looks like the wind's gonna blow me off, but I'm just gonna try to make a few casts here before I go and blow it up. I think I need a deeper running crankbait for this upcoming section here. I'm not even getting close to making bottom contact out here off of the bank. I've never had a depth finder out here, but I had a couple of guys on kayaks last week when I was out here tell me that main channel and spots can be about 10 to 12 feet deep and about 6 to 8 feet deep, you know, a few feet off of the bank in certain areas. I think I need to deepen it up. So I'm gonna make the switch. That smaller crankbait, I got a kind of diamond shaped looking one, I don't know. But this thing sounds more like a lipless. It rattles way louder than the other one, so we're gonna see if this will get a little deeper and make a little more commotion. See if we can get maybe a bigger bite off of it. And I don't know if you all can see, but I'm fishing out of like an 8-foot John boat. Boat's probably as old as I am, if not a little more. Got it back in Kansas. My dad did off of an auction, I believe. Put some wheels on it. It's got a trolling motor. So anytime I got that trolling motor going into the wind, I'm standing on the middle seat here and I'm steering it. I'm steering the boat side to side with my feet, just like that. Not the best solution, but it works pretty well and it helps me cover a lot of water. So that, and I hold this paddle in my right arm just like I'm paddleboard fishing to help steer the boat when I really need to like pull up or change directions faster. But pretty good solution for just one person fishing for sure. And believe it or not, I have put 2 people in this boat quite a bit, between Preston or Angel, my dad even. I mean, we've had quite a bit of weight in here, and it slows you down a little bit, but you can definitely still do it. I think it's a good alternative to kayaks. Definitely has its disadvantages though, but it's a pretty good option. When you get 2 people in here, it is pretty dang squirrely, even with just me in here, but I'm pretty used to it, so I don't get too tippy in it. I don't know if you can, yeah, you can definitely see it, that bridge right there. And then there's a tee box right there. This is a golf course. And I've been fishing through here so many times when people tee off right there. And I don't know if they get nervous because they see me out here, or maybe they just suck. Probably a good combination of both. But they'll top that ball, and I've had golf balls come within a few feet of me. That, or they might just be being dicks about it and be trying to hit me on purpose. I wish they would one time, but nonetheless, always makes for an interesting situation. Just stop for a sandwich break and then to tie on the big dog. It's a 6 cent C6. Supposed to go somewhere from the 4 to 8 foot range. I'm gonna crank this tree line with all this riprap on it. Then I might switch banks over there for a second. Still haven't caught anything. I might try and Ned rig up around the bend just a little bit, but I don't know. Not quite as active as they were last week, but we might luck out and catch a pretty good one on this bank. Might have to listen to me bitch about tying on a $9 crankbait and then losing it. But you know what? That could happen anywhere. So why not use it and try to catch some fish? The only difference is most of the lakes I fish in don't have shopping carts and dead bodies submerged in them like this place does, so we'll see. Came off the rock to get it. Y'all probably didn't even know I had one. Got hung on a little bit, hung up on a rock a bit. This little guy came up and hit it. Been a while, probably solid hour or so since our last fish, so he is welcome. Bad little guy. He thought he was big until the hooks got him. How does someone lose a topwater? Whoa! God dang it! Oh, I was just heading back in and ended up hooking into a pretty good one, but I didn't have the trolling motor on and it was just dragging him around, pulled the hooks right out of his mouth. Got another one. I missed one on that other bank and ended up finding one more over here. That bigger one I lost, man. I thought it was a drum. Just how it hit and started digging and started turning in circles, and he came up when the boat was still moving real fast and I couldn't stop it, and it just pulled the hooks right out of his mouth. But this rocky bank is probably pretty warm by now, and I've had 2 or 3 real good bites, and here's another fish off of it. Pretty solid. Well, that'll do it. I think we caught 4 of the 5 fish we had on today, which isn't bad for the very end of December. Pretty crazy. I think everywhere is really warm right about now. I think my only regret is not doing this sooner. I think it's going to be fun to be able to look back on more than just pictures and actually have a lot more of the story told behind a lot of the fishing trips. So look forward to more videos in the future. Peace.